I'm Chris Erdmann, and this is Made of More, the show where we go beyond business to uncover real stories that shape entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, we explore the pivotal moments, the adversity faced, the risks taken, and the resilience found along the way. This isn't just about what people have built, it's about who they've become. If you're ready for inspiration, practical insights, and stories that remind you that you too are made of more, you're in the right place. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're listening from. You're listening to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann. Today on Made of More, we're diving into a world of holistic healing, personal transformation with a good friend of mine, Andrew Marshall. Andrew's not only a coach and a healer, but also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and the founder of Embody the Practice. He's dedicated himself to helping individuals align their purpose, healing deeply, and reach their full potential through one-on-one sessions, group work, and retreats. Let's explore Andrew's journey and discover how he's helping others embody their practice of living fully. Hey, Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you for that introduction, Chris. And man, I'm so honored and stoked to be here with you.
Oh, it's really exciting, man. So you and your family just came back here from Hawaii. And were you originally from Portland? You guys moved to Hawaii and then moved back?
Mainly grew up in Seattle. Mm-hmm. I was born in Oregon, lived there for a while, grew up mainly in Seattle, but most of my life's been between Seattle, Portland, and around Oregon.
Okay.
But then we lived on the Big Island for about 4 years total, and we just moved back to your hometown, Bellingham.
Back to Bellingham. Yeah, Bellingham's excited to have you there. They don't even know who's arrived yet, but they're going to find out through a lot of positive interactions. I just got a comment on your shirt there. I see this black shirt that says more arm bars, please. It says more candy bars, please, but candy's crossed out and then arms is in red there. What's this about?
So this is a shirt that I love. This is one of my 13-year-old jiu-jitsu students who started training with me when he was 8. This was actually in Portland. He's almost 16 now. But when he was 13, he created his own jiu-jitsu brand called Off-Brand Jiu-Jitsu, which is all about just learning how to adapt and create your own unique style.
Yeah.
And then he made the shirt, is kind of fitting and cool for a kid saying, "No, I don't need any candy bars, just more arm bars, please." Meaning he's focused on his training. He's not focused on sitting around eating candy, doing other things like that. He wants to train, be the best he can be. And quick side note on him, shout out to Logan Riga, if you're listening, bud, or you're watching this. Yeah.
Oh, what's his Instagram? Do you know it offhand?
Yeah, it's Logan. He's Logan Riga on Instagram. I don't know the exact. He's got some numbers with it, I think.
Okay. But if they find you, they could probably find him.
Yeah, he's doing wrestling, jiu-jitsu. At 14 years old, he was entering adult blue belt competitions and getting gold.
Really?
So he's a really focused, dedicated young man. So I love rocking his stuff, and it means so much to me because he's a student that I've really been honored to have.
Oh, well, that's pretty wild. I need to follow this kid. Yeah, it's going to be a good journey, I could just tell.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into you. I mean, you coaching him is a bit about you, and it gives us like precursor to the quality that you try to surround yourself around and what you're trying to get into. But let's dive into your younger years here. Like,
Sure, man.
What kind of influence was in your life in your younger years that started leading up to your self-development?
Well, I think as a kid, I was always deeply interested in sports. Like I've been a lifelong athlete. Growing up, sports was my passion, whether it, was baseball, basketball, football. Got into skateboarding for a while, but it was most like baseball and football were my biggest sports. And that's all I cared about. So I just thought, I just want to be a professional athlete. All I want to do is play sports. Now, to make it somewhat brief, and you can let me know if you want to dive deeper into this, but as I got into puberty, my teenage years, I kind of went not the best direction and got influenced and started making decisions that led me down a lot of drinking, a lot of smoking, a lot of getting in street fights to prove myself, be tough, kind of in...
We're talking high school, middle school, high school.
Middle school, high school, kind of getting into rough situations and just beating the crap out of myself. And I really also didn't feel, there were a lot of factors, but I didn't feel good about myself. I even felt like I hated myself for a long time. And it wasn't until I was 19, 20 that I really started making a shift, and I was like, I can't live like this anymore. I'm completely sick of myself. I'm sick of all the pain and the tension and the emotional turmoil.
Where do you think that came from in the younger years? Like, a lot of kids deal with that. I know a lot of boys do. Like, I kind of went through my own path in my younger years of just kind of going against the grain as you were.
Yeah.
Where did that root from for you?
It's interesting. I've thought about that actually a good amount recently, trying to pinpoint where that went back to. But, I did get bullied a decent amount when I was younger, and I was always just wanting to be more of a peacemaker. But as I hit puberty, I got a little bigger than those guys that were bullying me. And I was like, okay, the tides have turned now. And I started aligning with more of the tougher guys in the class, like the toughest guys. And I started wanting to prove myself. And it just led into like the cool thing was to go drink, to go smoke.
Kind of falling into that trap of, sounds like you started forming a community.
Totally. And a sense of belonging, a sense of power. I wanted to feel a sense of power. I wanted to be a badass. And I think there's that natural like warrior instinct and spirit within me. I was attracted to football. My life became about playing football. And there was a lot of emotional turmoil in the home as well. And I just felt amidst all my attempts to be tough, to be a badass, to do the things that I did, I was also very insecure, very driven by fear, and just, trying to be someone.
Sometimes that's why we are trying to prove ourselves to others in these unhealthy ways, is because there's a fear there somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, and a sense to want to be accepted, whether you're trying to accept yourself or you're trying to be accepted by the community that you're thinking it's the place to grow into.
Right.
Yeah, I could see that. I can understand that as well. So
yeah,
I think it's really important that you're sharing that for the young people out there or parents that might be working with kids that might be going through something like this, because this is always going to be around.
Yeah, totally. And that's one of the things I like, why I love, who Logan is, and like wearing this shirt is like, I love being able to turn around and give what I didn't get.
Yeah.
I think that's part of my motivation for what I do. It's very fulfilling to turn around and provide the guidance that I didn't feel like I was receiving to younger people so that they can have greater amounts of success from an early age, and all of in the most holistic way that you can term success, right? Healthy, happy, doing what they love to do, really going after their gifts and their passions. And I think that's one of the things that hindered me by the time I was 19 and I started going, holy shit, I feel like a broken down 60-year-old. I'm only 19, 20 years old. Like I really hindered myself by the choices I made in those previous 6-7 years.
What do you mean hindered yourself?
I think that the amount of drinking and beating my body and how hard I was on my body through my developmental years, I think I had to do a lot of backtracking and a lot of, mental emotional healing. And I had to do a lot of like physical therapy and like healing my body and strengthening my body. Instead of being able to move forward, I had to spend a lot of time tending to myself and recovering from the last number of years. To
me, it sounds like you were forced in a place of recovery. Like somehow, like you hit a wall.
Yeah, and ultimately, it drove me to grow.
Yeah,
like I can look now at all the pluses that came out of that.
Yeah,
but I'm also aware that if I would have had different guidance that helped me to stay sober as a teenager, that helped me to say, hey, you don't need to go that way. Let's help you have a balanced structure with school, life, and training. I think I would have been dealing with a lot less injuries. I think I would have been stronger, healthier, just better momentum and direction into my adult life, rather than a lot of floundering and trying to figure out what I'm going to do to fix all this pain.
Yeah. But luckily, you met that line, and then you started a place to recovery at 19. And that's a pretty young age to start that. That's great. Some people don't find that ever. And
I feel blessed for sure.
Yeah. And then also to have the awareness that you want to give what you didn't get in a positive way. I mean, I meet 40, 50, 60-year-olds that don't think like that. So like for the fact that you started that journey at 19 of awareness to give back to yourself so you can start giving to other people, like the young man where you're wearing his shirt. I mean, it gives me chills. That's awesome.
I appreciate that. And I often say, it felt like it was me and it wasn't me that had the awareness and made the decision that I needed to change. Like it felt like there's an aspect of grace there. And
Where's that grace come from?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
That's
But it's there.
question.
You feel it.
I can feel it. Yeah. Yeah. And that could be another tangent we go into if we feel like we want to flow that way. But to me, there's a spiritual aspect there. There's a relationship to God there, for myself that I feel it's like, it really feels like me and not me that's been guiding my life.
Yeah. And you're listening to this. And so walk me through what's next. Like how you recovered from your younger years, from 19 till what?
Where I'm now?
Yeah.
38 next week.
You're 30. Hey, happy birthday next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still a young man, though.
Yeah.
What was the next step after you recovered, though?
Well, I think it's more, I don't know, it's been an ongoing journey, right?
Yeah.
But I think around 1920, I made a very drastic shift. It was like night and day, like literally overnight. I remember sitting on the couch at work. I was working at a car dealership. I was taking a break, sitting on the couch at work, like excruciating back pain because I had chronic back pain because of how beat up my body was. I had knee issues, shoulder issues, all this stuff. I didn't know how to take care of myself. I didn't know how to eat right. And I just thought, gosh, this has to change. And after that, the next day I started reading up on nutrition. I started figuring out what's this meditation thing about. And I just became obsessed with meditation, nutrition, and training. And that's all I focused on for years. I started bringing in different healers and mentors to work with me and reading lots of books on spirituality and healing and other people's personal journeys. And I just became completely obsessed with all of that. And what I also say is jiujitsu, because I started training jiujitsu when I was 18. And so it was like a year or so after I really started feeling like I needed to make the shifts in my life.
You said a year after you were 18?
Yeah.
You started jiu-jitsu?
No, I started when I was 18.
You started when you were 18.
So when I was like 19 is when I really started feeling these shifts that I needed to make.
Yeah. What?
And I not jokingly say jiu-jitsu is my gateway drug to a better life because it opened up all this other stuff.
I hear that a lot. I wouldn't say that I'm a martial artist at all, but when I was 19, these guys said, hey, why don't you come try this jiu-jitsu thing out. I didn't even know what it was. And amongst a couple other things, I remember that going to that class for about a year there just really opened up a side of me that I've never experienced. And it was a freeing side where I felt free to walk away from a fist fight.
Right.
Where I felt like I was more confident in who I was and my abilities. And I wasn't able to put it into words then, and still, like looking back, it's still something that I should ponder more about, but I do know that it leveled up my self-confidence, and it wasn't necessarily a fighting confidence, even though that was getting better with experience, but it opened my heart up more for myself, and it sounds like that's kind of a little bit of what you're talking about.
Absolutely, and it helped me to have more of a holistic perspective on life. I say, okay, now I'm training as a martial artist. I've seen images of martial artists meditate. What's this meditation thing about? If I want to train long term and I love this, I have to take care of my body or else I can't do it. So it gave me all this motivation and reason and purpose to really change my life and feel better, feel healthier, and figure out how to do that.
Yeah. What about the community? So when you're in jiu-jitsu or something like that, you're also in a community of other people
exactly
doing the same thing. Did that have an impact on you?
Absolutely. It's so great to have, especially I hear so many people talking about it's hard to find good community, people that they're connected to and they see on a regular basis and they share life with.
Yeah.
And with something like jiu-jitsu, it gets very organically created. As long as there's a good culture in the gym, then you have this great natural community that's getting created. It's kind of a funny thing because you joke like we get together with guys, we try to choke each other and then we love each other and then we, it's just, there's something primal that you're connecting with. Like you just described the benefits that you felt after doing it for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a great feeling and you're pushing yourself physically. You're testing yourself under duress. You're getting a great workout. You're getting human to human contact and connection.
Yeah.
And then, you're naturally building community around that. Probably most of the most important relationships in my life have come from other men who I trained jiu-jitsu with.
Yeah. And tell me more about that.
Well, the people that I've developed the closest relationships with in my adult life, I met through training jiu-jitsu.
Right, through training.
Yeah, and it just kind of naturally happened. We start training together, and then we start seeing each other at the gym more, and then you start talking a little bit more, and then you start talking about things outside the gym a little more, and you invite each other over to hang out.
Yeah. Something else that I like about the martial arts of jiu-jitsu is like a good gym. You're building a lot of trust because you're never using more force than you need to. So you have a lot of mercy on each other as much as you're trying to beat each other up per se. Is like there's a lot of mercy and trust there because
totally
you're getting somebody in a chokehold and you're not there to hurt them. So you're gonna let them go once you won.
Exactly.
And so it's like that trust fall.
Totally.
Yeah.
It is.
Wow. Okay, so you got into this and you started experiencing the spiritual side of yourself. You're meditating, you're doing jiu-jitsu. What's coming after this? Like, what is the next step in your journey?
So I ended up in a very interesting way meeting the first, who I would call my first healer or spiritual mentor. And I ended up working with this woman named Amadeo Giao on a weekly basis for about 3 years.
Yeah.
And she really impacted me and helped me work through so much mentally, emotionally, helped me even more so find my own authentic spiritual path. And I learned a lot of techniques and methods from her, from meditation to sound healing to emotional processes. She also introduced me to different plant medicines that helped me go deep and have really profound healing experiences. And so that was one of the next stages of what I dove into.
Oh, wow. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. We're going to get back to your story here. You've been listening to the show Made of More. I'm Chris Erdmann, your host, and right here talking with Andrew Marshall. And we're going to get back to this after these two messages.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. If you're struggling with mental health, you should know that there are resources out there that can help. And it's okay to talk about it if you need to. One place to get started with information is loveyourmindtoday.org. Loveyourmindtoday.org offers a range of guides, instructions, and insights for dealing with difficult situations or getting through a tough time. If you're struggling with mental health, get the help you need, because most people out here really care. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Are you ready to discover remarkable stories of resilience and cultural connection? This is Diaspora, a show sharing the journeys of first-generation immigrants from the Indian subcontinent now building their lives in North America. Inspiring, insightful, and always engaging, Diaspora offers a unique perspective on the immigrant experience. Join me, Aditya Mehta, my guests, on the Diaspora Show every Wednesday at 2 p.m. right here on KKNW.
Wondering what's on next on Alternative Talk 1150? Check out 1150kknw.com.
So welcome back to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, and I'm sitting here with Andrew Marshall of Embody the Practice. So Andrew just got done telling us about his early experience in life, from childhood to overcoming and realizing some of the things that were hurting him and recovering, and different ways that he's overcome through meditation and martial arts and more. But we only have so much time on the show, and we could talk for days here.
I know, man. Easy.
Yeah, easy. And we have. But what I want to know is more about getting into the 3 phases of accelerated evolution. Do you want to talk to me about what that means?
Yeah, and that's a good segue. I shared about that initial mentor and healer that I worked with, and another person who's been a huge and very significant mentor and elder brother for me is Satyan Raja. And it was through him that I came into the body of work, Accelerated Evolution. In Accelerated Evolution, what we say is the three main phases that we support people with are their healing and integration, their goal achievement, and their spiritual awakening,
Right.
per se, their spirituality. And Accelerated Evolution is just the name for this body of work that's like this synthesis of psychological and spiritual methodologies that support people with, all these kinds of deep processes and coming home to the truth of who they are.
Yeah. What does this look like? How does this begin?
Yeah. Well, it begins mostly I'm working with people one-on-one, as you mentioned at the beginning. I also can guide people through group processes as well.
Yeah.
But a lot of these processes are really powerful methods where, say, if you have a doubt, you're really stuck in some fear, some doubt. I'd say, okay, great. How is that adversely affecting you in your life? What do you want to be experiencing instead? We talk about that a little bit. And I'd say, okay, thank you. Go ahead, close your eyes, and I'm going to guide you through a step-by-step inner experience to help you really face that fear and doubt, experience it fully, get clear on it, free yourself from the emotional charge and the energy around it,
Yeah.
and move forward with new clarity for what you need to do now and how you want to be feeling now.
So it sounds like there's the meditative process, and that not only you're guiding, but they're also speaking to themselves within, and out loud.
I'm guiding it for answers out loud. So it's a guided inner experience. These are guided in your inner experience that in most of the sessions that I do, I'm taking someone through that.
And how long does something like this usually take, or can it take?
Depending on the process I'll guide, could be anywhere from 10 to 60 minutes.
Okay.
Most of them probably 20, 30 minutes when I'm guiding someone through a deep process, but sometimes you get into it and it's a little bit longer. But what touched me so much about this body of work is, as I mentioned to you, I engaged in many different types of meditation and healing processes and different kinds of plant medicine work. And all of these I've been exposed to many different powerful methods, personal transformation and healing. This body of work is like this incredible synthesis of all of it.
Yeah.
And it supports people in the most effective way I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah. And so now I'm part of the team for Accelerated Evolution Academy. I'm one of the trainers.
Yeah.
And I've been a part of the team for about 8 years now.
Okay.
And I'm still amazed at the experiences that people have when I work with them and I guide them through this work.
What? Can you repeat the name of it again?
Accelerated Evolution.
Accelerated Evolution. Where are they based out of?
Langley, BC.
Okay. I know that you just visited not too long ago before moving here, and you had a thing to do in Langley or in Canada. So Langley, BC.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty close by, one of our neighbors.
I know, easy now. We have trainings every year, and it's actually either on the Big Island or here in the Pacific Northwest. We have multiple trainings every year that we do.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely get into that and how people find you and like what's to come up here in the future. I'll definitely want to dive into that. Tell me about which part of this inspired you to start your business? Because you've had a couple businesses since I've known you, the Jiujitsu and this, but now it seems like it's merging together.
Yeah, I think, I've been teaching Jiu-Jitsu for a long time, and then having my coaching practice, my Jiu-Jitsu, teaching practice.
Yeah.
And, but now in the past few years, I've moved much more so to just my coaching practice. This coaching work, this healing work has been my main focus. Now with moving, as we've talked about, aiming to ramp back up my teaching of jiu-jitsu in a new way.
Yeah.
Right. But it's kind of, they work together, but it's two kind of separate practices and training modalities that I facilitate. What is this
new way?
Opening a gym.
Opening the gym. Yeah, we're on that journey.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. And so, but you're going to integrate the two together somehow, right?
Well, I think they feed each other very naturally. It's like when we're on the mats training jiu-jitsu, you're to just train physically. And there will be some natural things that I weave in and positive mindset focuses that I'll weave into the jiu-jitsu training, right? But, they work separately. the way I guide the practices.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're just integrating more in your life, but you're still going to have them be a bit separate from
Yeah,
each other.
yeah.
That makes
What
sense.
what's happened a lot in the past is where I have jiu-jitsu students and they love training with me, and we end up naturally talking about more than just jiu-jitsu. And they tell me about the challenges. Like a lot of personal trainers I've talked to, they have this experiences. They're like a personal trainer, but they're also kind of like the person's therapist, and people end up talking to their personal trainers about all kinds of things while they're working out.
Yeah.
And so when people start talking to me about their challenges in life outside of jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, would you like help with that?
I
go,
imagine
well,
you
sure.
wrestling on the ground.
Yeah.
Like they're telling you about their life a little bit.
Yeah. It's usually in between techniques. It's usually like the private lesson, turns into 15 minutes of talking about something else. And it's great. I love it. I love that people open up to me that way. And then I say, well, I have this type of work that I do if you want to connect about that, and we can go there as well. And it ends up being training and coaching that we do off the mats as well. So they feed. And I've also had a bunch of clients that have worked with me that as part of them working with me, I've encouraged them to start jiu-jitsu as part of their strengthening and development practice, so they feed each other.
Yeah. From what I understand is like, I hear a lot of people say every person needs to do jiu-jitsu, especially if you're in your 40s. I hear that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, it's one great thing that you can do.
Yeah.
I won't go say it's necessarily for everyone, but if you feel like it's something that would resonate for you, it's an incredible, incredible practice to bring into your life for so many reasons.
Yeah. What are some breakthroughs from some of your clients you might want to share? Some things that you're like stands out. Is there anything that stands out to you?
On the theme of jiu-jitsu, as we've been talking about, there was a fellow jiu-jitsu professor and gym owner that I was close with for a number of years. And he ended up contacting me because he was going through some things and was having a hard time. But it was also because he was on a precipice of a new level of growth, of starting a whole nother business. He started a nonprofit helping struggling youth, and runs multiple gyms and is a high-level competitor and just a great all-around guy. But he was really having some internal struggles, some sort of inner spiritual grappling, and was having a lot of fear and hesitation around taking these next steps. And he hit me up, and we started working together, and I started guiding him through sessions. And the transformation that he went through was really profound. Help him move beyond the inner fears, the inner doubts, the things from his childhood that he didn't even realize were still influencing him and holding him back and operating kind of on a primal, deeper level of his being. He was also aiming to become a father, and he and his wife couldn't have biologically, so they're in an adoption process that was kind of stressful. The very day after we finished our 3 months of coaching, they finally got accepted. They got their son. They adopted their son the day after. He opened a new gym, and he's been on a tear, just so focused, just like it was like he exploded out of a slingshot that was holding him back.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing to witness that. I know that I'm kind of sharing in a very general sense, but that's a really cool transformation that I'm really happy about.
No, I can understand. I have these topics in business. You have these conversations daily about, what's driving you or what's motivating you or what's holding you back. And for a lot of people, everybody that opens up always says how something maybe from their childhood propelled them forward, like these voices, or like they've held on to something that's happened, maybe not in their childhood, maybe their adolescence or sometime in their youth where they've held on to an experience. And some of them are definitely positive and some of them are negative. And for the negative ones, it's like a lot of those people need help to work through that to get, if they want to get to the next level.
Yeah, and a lot of traumas we experience in our earlier years create subconscious imprints that hinder us, and sometimes we don't even know why. And some of the breakthroughs that I love and what I've noticed as a trend is, say, if I'm working with fighters or jiu-jitsu athletes or even business owners, it's like they think, okay, I want to get the blocks out of the way. I want to perform at my highest level. But usually, like, say, of fighters that I've worked with, it's usually not stuff in the gym that's hindering them. They don't even realize it's all the stressors and the stuff that's going on outside of the gym, in their relationships, from their past traumas. They need help clearing out of their mental, emotional field so their energy and focus can be unleashed. And that's what I love identifying for people.
It's like I've heard the word and the anti-you, that the voice inside your head that says you can't do something when you're physically capable of doing it, or even you have the brains to do it, and there's nothing else stopping you besides that voice inside your head.
Yeah.
And that sounds like that's what you work through with that guy.
Yeah.
So what are do you want to share any practices, from high level that you work through with him to have him overcome those thoughts?
It's interesting. I guided him through a really interesting practice that we have where let's say he was having this pressure. He was feeling this incredible pressure for, I don't know which guy you're asking about. I'm jumping to one of the fighters that I worked with in the past. He had so much pressure, internal pressure he was putting on himself for this biggest fight that was coming up for him. I guided him through a process to connect with that pressure within himself and actually feel it as an aspect of himself, a part of him that he could communicate with, and discover what that pressure's purpose was for him. Why is the pressure there? Every internal pain, emotion, it's a part of us that is there for a reason, that's trying to communicate something to us. And that's a key reframe that I try to help people experience. So I guided him through the process to feel that pressure. And what he realized was that pressure was there to help him really face the healing he needed to do around his wife having a miscarriage the year before. Had nothing to do with the fight directly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was just about him facing that pressure, giving it his full attention rather than fighting it and trying to push through it. He needed to turn, slow down, feel it, excavate what was in there and what it was connected to. And that pressure was ultimately just trying to help him do that, help him slow down, help him realize what's most important to him in life. And when he could look at that meta perspective of what was most important, even beyond the fight, he was able to relax, get loose, and he fought better than he ever had before.
Well, because he identified it and faced it.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like the internal world is much like the external world, where we do have to face our problems before we could fully move on.
Yeah.
Whether it's paying taxes or doing your laundry or doing your internal laundry.
Totally. And it's about what I love about the body of work that I do is that it not only helps people fully face and turn towards those things, but then gives a step-by-step structure and process for how to then move beyond as well. Because that's where we can often get stuck. It's like, I feel this sadness, I feel this pain, but then what? How do I move through this? And that's where you bring a professional to support you, therapist, coach, whoever, to help you take that step-by-step approach.
I think these are great thoughts. We're going to leave it here. You've been listening to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, and we're sitting here with Andrew Marshall of Embody the Practice. Stay tuned.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. And never give in to a meltdown. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never let them have too much screen time. And never bribe them for just one more bite. You say you'd never let them out in public without their hair brushed. Never, ever become a minivan mom. And you'd never give them your phone for a quiet dinner.
Calling boss work phone.
So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, no, it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Chris Erdmann. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs, creative minds, and game changers to uncover the real stories behind their business. On my show, Made of More, we explore the challenges that they've overcome, the breakthroughs that they've celebrated, and the mindset that drives them forward. If you're ready to unlock your full entrepreneurial potential, Made of More is the show for you, because here we know you are made of more. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW.
Alternative Talk 1150, here to uplift your day.
Welcome back to the show, Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, and we've been listening to and talking to Andrew Marshall of Embody the Practice. Wow, I just got to say, what a deep thinker. And you're a very stoic person. And I think of, like, I was talking about Marcus Aurelius this morning with my group, and you're somebody that stands out. It's somebody that I know that always has a stoicism, and I've never got to witness you ungrounded. None of us are perfect. I'm sure that we all get ungrounded, but
Yeah.
You've been like a steady rock as a person to watch and witness.
I appreciate that, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, I have my moments like everyone else.
Yeah.
But that's what we're talking about, embody the practice, because we bring, I noticed that my life changed when I brought healthy, supportive practices and disciplines into my life. It gave me the skills to navigate the ups and downs and the challenges of life.
Yeah. And I got to say, it's good to see somebody on the other side of the table that's found that path and is continuing to work on it, because this is a great example. And then you're opening that door for other people to find a system and method that might work for them.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's systems and methods for all types of people, all different things out there. And you're offering something that's really interesting. And a lot of people are doing this these days, and you're providing this service. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah. Looking back, what was one of the toughest life lessons that's changed your life in the second half of your life?
A couple things have come up with that question, but one is I'll start with the affirmation that came through the tough lessons was that every injury is an opportunity to get stronger. I dealt with a lot of physical injuries, and I also dealt with a lot of what I would call mental emotional injuries in my younger years. But I realized that if I never gave up on finding the remedy, and I did whatever it took, and I sought support and I sought resources, then eventually I always found that remedy, that approach really helped me. And so I've learned that anytime I have any kind of injury or setback, if I embrace it and focus on what I'm going to do now, how I'm going to grow through it, I'll not only recover from that, but get stronger than I was before.
Right. So can you give me an example?
Yeah, one simple example. I'll take a physical example. It can be simpler to provide that initially. Is I was competing on a pretty big jiu-jitsu show, and I got caught in what's called an estema lock. Anyone who trains jiu-jitsu would know what that is.
Yeah.
Caught in an estema lock, and the adrenaline was going. I didn't really feel much, and all of a sudden my ankle was just ripped, just like really ripped. And after that, I was working with a man who is amazing, kind of physical therapist, chiropractor, trainer, all in one. And he helped me do the physical therapy to recover from that ankle injury. But not only did he help me recover, he helped me be stronger and more mobile and better than I was prior to the injury through that process. And that made me reflect on, well, gosh, I dealt with hating myself and intense fear and insecurity and doubt and all these things. And because I engaged in processes to figure out how to remedy these things, I got way stronger because those things were a part of my life and because I took a proactive approach. So now I just always go back to every injury is an opportunity to get stronger. And we see our setbacks and our injuries as opportunities rather than only things that limit us, then we become unstoppable in life in the long term. It doesn't mean discounting that we feel bummed or frustrated, We want to
Yeah.
be present to those, but always come back to, okay, how am I going to grow through this?
Right.
And why I say that's a hard lesson for me is because it took me a long time of fighting and
that.
feeling frustrated and trying to, having all these feelings besides taking that more proactive approach.
Wow, what a great lesson. I know people in almost every age group of my life that has been hurt somehow, whether they've gotten sick or injured. And I see some of those people really feeling like they're victimizing themselves almost. Some of these people are going to be worse off than before the injury, where it's a mental game, where it's clear to me, like being in a couple of bad accidents, like I was in a motorcycle accident,
Right.
a couple of them.
Yeah.
But one of them, I broke a few bones, bruised a few organs, and was laid up in bed. But, instead of just feeling bad for myself, I mean, I did feel bad and I did go through all the emotions, but instead of being like, oh, I'm not going to be the same, and I lost all my movement in my arm, to like really going through the physical therapy.
Yeah.
And thinking that I could recover fully, and I got full range in both my arms. It's like I've never been in a wreck before. In fact,
Amazing.
maybe my arm the bone might be a little stronger.
Yeah.
Where I broke it.
Yeah.
And I got to say, like, if I felt bad for myself and scared, if I stayed in that state too long, like, my arm probably wouldn't have full movement.
Right.
I still ride, but not as much, but just because people on their phones. But,
Sure.
I feel like a stronger person because of it, mentally.
Yeah.
Even. And I think that's even more important.
Yeah. So I think the general structure we can look at here is for someone to take a practical approach without needing a ton of details is like things happen and then we acknowledge and we get real with how that impacts us. And we train ourselves to always look for the opportunity.
Yeah. I think that's great. I think if anybody walks away from this, that right there is just injury. Say that again?
Every injury is an opportunity to get stronger.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to look at life.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get injured in all kinds of ways, not just physically.
Totally. Yeah. It's inevitable. And that's I love to quote Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee said, don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one.
Yeah. Wow. I love Bruce Lee too. So, yeah, that's a great quote.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one. And the way I view my work, in essence, is that the work that I'm doing with people is that prayer in action.
That's great. What does embody your full potential look like in your own life today?
It means that I'm doing my best to wake up every day with the energy and the presence to really live fully. And sure, there are future results I'd like to have, maybe physically, financially, there's all kinds of maybe goals that I have or anyone can have, right?
Mm.
So we look at those and we have those that we strive towards, but I think ultimately what it means to embody your full potential and be on that journey is every day you're giving your all. And whether that's figuring out what your path is, you're giving your all to that, or you know what your path is and you're giving your all to that. I think that's in essence how I view it.
Yeah, I believe that watching you. And what do you have to say for the people that don't feel like they can give it their all that day?
Well, then focus on recovery.
Give your all for recovery, right?
Give your all for, okay, what do I need to do for my sleep patterns? What do I need to do to take space from a situation? What do I need to do? Everyone's got full lives these days, and maybe someone's a parent, maybe someone's a business owner, got so much going on. It can be hard to take care of yourself, but you can take a few minutes and get creative. You can always get more creative. You can always take small proactive steps into taking better care of yourself. So if you just don't have that energy, you don't have that drive there, then your focus needs to be on what are those good self-care practices. And I even see as disciplines that you need to get into. One of the hardest things for me as a young man to really do on a regular basis was get myself to bed and get full nights of sleep, because my mind's going and I want to do stuff,
I still have that problem.
you know? And once I played the trick on my mind and told myself that sleep was part of my training, it worked. And so now sleep is one of my most important disciplines.
Wow. Yeah.
So we can view these
Good
things
way to
as
look at it.
disciplines.
Yeah.
Eating a healthy lunch, getting a good night of sleep, practicing positive self-talk to myself and speaking kindly to others. Like, these are important disciplines.
They are important disciplines, you know, and I think that was a great answer. Just, for not somebody that doesn't feel like they can give it their all. It sounds like they have to give it their all somewhere else in their life.
Yeah,
that day.
exactly. That's where creativity is important to our path as well. And we're just being creative on these simple things.
You know, you've kind of touched on this, but I just want to ask it deliberately. What personal practice and rituals keep you grounded and aligned, especially through your tough times?
I love my simple flow during the day, and this might be supportive for other folks who just have full days, busy lives, parents, and working hard, all this stuff is, when I get up in the morning, one of the first things I do is I go make a cup of lemon water. I drink down my lemon water with a pinch of sea salt in it, and then I go outside and I put my bare feet on the earth and I take a few breaths. So I'm grounding, my bare skin is touching the earth. Then I go in, I do some light movement or stretching or a bit of morning, strength training, whatever I feel like doing that day. I might meditate for 5-10 minutes and then I get into my work, so that's just like and I make my morning smoothie. I love my morning smoothie. So it's like lemon water, pinch of sea salt, put my bare feet on the earth outside, breathe the fresh morning air, movement, stretching, smoothie, get to work.
That sounds like a great morning ritual. How do you feel if that doesn't happen? There's got to be some mornings that one.
I do it enough
Yeah.
to where if there's a morning it doesn't happen, then, I'm good.
Then you're good. Because you're going to get back to it.
There's not very many mornings that some variation of that. Pretty much every day some variation of that happens.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a huge morning ritual, but it is a meaningful one.
Yeah.
What does made of more mean to you?
Yeah, and I love when I heard the name of your show. I thought that was so awesome. That's such a great name. And
Thank you.
What I feel is that it's a term that's invoking us to look deeper within ourselves, to really live our lives fully, to embody our full potential, right? We can always grow and learn. And also, I could see it as a spark or an inspiring, thing for someone to see this made of more. Maybe you're not doing something that is really fulfilling with your life. Maybe you're stuck in a job situation or a relationship that doesn't feel totally, fully fulfilling, or you can feel within yourself, you're just not like getting after it. You're not giving your all.
Yeah.
But deep down, you're made of more.
Yeah.
And deep down, you have more to give, more to push. And again, you just got to get creative in how you set yourself up for success with that.
That's a great, thank you for answering that. That's a fantastic view on it and that you put into words there.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah. You're a person that is made of more, you go out there every day, close friends with you and your family, and the way that you guys speak about each other is just phenomenal. And you guys inspire each other, it seems like. And you're a family man, you have a little son. You want to say anything about being a family man? And
yeah, thanks, man. And another thing I want to say is just we're all made of more.
Yeah.
All of us are made of, I think that's a spiritual principle that I've come to experience that also can bring great peace to our inner experiences, to realize that in the essence of who we are all made of that same essence. We are all connected. We are all one in a sense, and we're all made of more. We can give more. We can do more, and we can push ourselves more.
Yeah.
So I just felt inspired to just express that a little bit. And my son, Eamon, he just turned 6, and he's just an awesome little man, just full of great energy. And I just feel so incredibly blessed.
Yeah. He's training on the mat with you too a bit.
He's been training since he could walk, but he's been going to jiu-jitsu in recent years, and I just feel so incredibly blessed to be his dad. And of course, shout out to my wife, Kelly, she's the reason we know each other and the reason I'm here today. So
yeah, shout out to Kelly. What is the best way that people can discover more about you and get a hold of you?
My website's embodythepractice.com, and a great intro way to experience work with me is I do monthly group sessions. I have a monthly group membership program that's very, cost effective for anyone. And I do those monthly sessions. Next one's September 18th.
Okay.
So you can also find me on Instagram at Embody the Practice. So, yeah.
That's a great way. And if they tune into these meetings, is that they're able to grow community within those meetings?
Yeah, totally. Yep. There's other wonderful people on their journey coming in to better themselves, focus, heal, grow. And it's always a very powerful experience when everyone comes together with those shared intentions.
Sure. Are you going to be doing any in person?
That is my intention. Now that we're back in the Northwest, I want to start doing more in-person experiences. I haven't quite formulated those yet, but they're coming.
You've done you do men's retreat in person though. Are those still happening?
The retreats, in Hawaii on the Big Island. I'll still be doing those. So the spring, we still need to finalize our dates, but spring 2026, we've got 2 men's retreats that'll be happening. Info is on my website.
Yeah. What happens on the men's retreats? Some of the things.
Well, you got to come to find out.
You got to come and find out.
Excuse me. So one is the Big Island's men's retreat, and that's more what I just simply say is focused more on healing and personal development. The other one is the Jiu-Jitsu men's retreat, and that's all. There's similar kind of feel that gets worked in, but it's more centered around good, hard, focused Jiu-Jitsu training every day, and also having an amazing Big Island experience. But for the Big Island men's retreat, we do daily practices where we get up early in the morning, we go down to the beach or go somewhere beautiful in nature, and I guide them through some of the deep processes that we touched on earlier, and just deep, powerful practices that help them work through what's genuinely going on for them and come out more just clear and fired up, and like have that inner fire stoked within themselves when they go back into their lives.
Yeah, more connected with who they want to be and who they truly are.
Yeah, get out in nature. And that's so important. One of the things I love to do on those retreats is get men out into nature together. Because when we get out into nature, it's easier for us to connect to our own true nature.
I'm going to leave it right there. I think that's great. Now, you know how to connect with Andrew Marshall of Embody the Practice. You know, if you need anything in martial arts for as far as jiu-jitsu or some personal coaching or just diving deeper in life, he's a great resource for you. You know, I just want to say thank you, Andrew, for coming on today. It really means a lot that you drove all this way from Bellingham over to Bellevue, and you're here and on the air. Thank you.
Really meaningful to be on the show, Chris. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, we'll talk again later, but you've been listening to the show Made of More here with Andrew Marshall today. Thanks for tuning in.
Have a great day, folks.
Let's talk next week. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Made of More on KKNW. Whether you're on the road, at the office, or listening from home, keep chasing what lights you up, keep building what matters, and never settle for less than the life you were made for. You are made of more. More purpose, more impact, more joy. Made of More is part of the Speaking Current network of shows and podcasts, all of which that are dedicated to inspiring listeners to build lives of meaning, connection, and value. You can find the Speaking Current network of shows, including Made of More, wherever you get your podcast. You can also find us on YouTube. Until next Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I'm Chris Erdmann. Stay bold, stay inspired, and stay made of more.